All right, welcome back to the Brooklyn Public Library's Growing Dollars and Cents Team Workshops. In our workshop today, we're going over banking basics. We just learned how to write a check. Now we're going to go over how to complete our checkbook register. So when you get your first set of checks, the checkbook will come with a small grid. And the reason why the bank gives you this small grid is so that you can record all of your transactions with your checking account. So whenever you use your debit card, or whenever you make a deposit, or whenever you make a withdrawal at the ATM, it's a good idea for you to write down all of those transactions. This will help you to keep track of how much money you have in your account at all times. The bank will also send you a statement every month letting you know how much you spent and how much you deposited in your account for the month. But keeping your own register is a better way to help you to stay up to date and accurate on how much money you actually have at all times. So let's get started. So before we record the checks that we just wrote, let's make a deposit into our account. So we can start with a deposit of, say, $400. So we'll put the date that we're making the deposit. For transaction description, we're going to write deposit. Then we have two choices, the payment amount category or the deposit amount category. Now, where should we record the $400 that we're going to deposit into our account? That's right, in the deposit amount category. So you can cross out payment so you don't write in it, and then write 400 and then 00 on the other side. And to find out your balance, you would add the deposit amount to your previous balance. And so if you didn't have any money in your account before, you would be adding 400 to 0. And 400 plus 0 is 400. All right, excellent. So now we can record the two checks that we just wrote. So the first check that we wrote had a check number. The check number on the first check was 001. The check number is printed on each check that you have, and that's how you can keep track of all of the checks that you write. So we'll record the date that we wrote that check. So that was 4/3. Now for the transaction description, we're going to record what we wrote on the memo portion of the check. Do you recall what we wrote in the memo for the first check? All right, so that was a donation to the Brooklyn Public Library. And how much was that check for? $100. All right, so where should we record that $100? In the payment amount category or in the deposit amount category? That's right, payment amount. So we can cross out the deposit section. Now that we've written a check, in order for us to find out our new balance, we need to subtract the amount of the payment from our previous balance. So if you subtract $100 from $400, how much will you have left? That's right, $300. All right, excellent. So now we can record the next check that we wrote. So that check was 002. And we wrote that check out to our favorite store. So in the memo, we placed purchase as our reminder. And how much did we spend at our favorite store? $350.02. So let's record that here in the payment section. So now again, to find out our balance, we need to subtract the $350 from our previous balance of $300. What's that? That's right. We have a problem. There's not enough money in our account to cover this check. We only have $300 in our account, but the check that we've written is $350.02. So it's $50.02 more than what we have. So now what? Well, this is called bouncing a check. When you write a check for more money than you actually have, that check is no good. It's like a rubber check. So now what happens is, you don't have enough money to cover your purchase at your very favorite store, and you don't have enough money in your bank account. So a couple things can happen now. Your favorite store, once they receive the check, could send it back to your bank as unpaid due to insufficient funds. And as a result, your favorite store's bank could charge you a bounce check fee. The bounce check fee could be $30, $35 perhaps. That's a lot of money. And no fun having fees taken out of your account. But on top of that, not only could your favorite store's bank charge you a bounce check fee, your bank could also charge you a bounce check fee for having to process that check and then send it back to you. So that could be 2 charges of $35 each that you're now hit with. So now your favorite your purchase at your favorite store is costing you $70 more than what you actually have. Again, no fun having to pay fees. So how can we avoid this? What can we do to make sure that we always know how much money we have in our account at all times? Well, right, we can always check our balance. What are some ways that we can check our bank account balance? Well, one, we could keep our register up to date. Yes. What else? We could check to see how much money we have before we start writing checks. That's a good one. What if we're using our ATM, or the ATM card or the debit card? How can we find out that how much money we have? Right, we can go to an ATM machine and get a receipt to see how much is our balance. We could go to the teller and ask them to print out the balance for us. We could call on the phone, call the bank, and see how much money is on the account there. So there are plenty of ways to find out exactly how much money you have left in your checking account. So that means there's no excuse for bouncing checks. Thanks.